Pat Borders exemplified resilience and determination, traits that are essential for any athlete, especially one competing on the world stage. A two-time World Series champion and the most valuable player of the 1992 World Series, Borders had accumulated over 1,000 games as a catcher, which undoubtedly contributed to his reputation for toughness. His manager with the Toronto Blue Jays, Cito Gaston, once praised him highly, stating that Borders was the kind of player who would run through a wall for me if I asked him to. This unwavering spirit was put to the test during the gold medal game at the 2000 Olympics in Sydney, Australia, where US manager Tommy Lasorda was determined to secure victory. Borders reflected on the significance of the moment, saying, "The importance of winning was paramount. It was because of Lasorda's attitude toward winning and the intensity he brought. He did not want to lose, and he made it clear that we should not settle for second place." Despite the 2000 Summer Olympics marking the first occasion that professional baseball players were allowed to compete, the U.S. team entered the tournament as underdogs. This was the third time baseball was included as an official Olympic sport, and the U.S. had never achieved better than a bronze medal. The Cuban national team, boasting an impressive streak of 40 consecutive international finals since 1952, was the team to beat, with Japan also emerging as a formidable competitor. With Lasorda at the helm, there was no room for anything less than gold. Borders played a crucial role in guiding a young pitching staff, which included future stars like Ben Sheets and Roy Oswalt, while also mentoring a relatively inexperienced infield during critical moments of the games. After starting the tournament with a perfect 5-0 record, including a thrilling 4-2 victory over Japan that went into 13 innings, the U.S. faced its first challenge with a 6-1 loss to Cuba in the round-robin stage. While the defeat was concerning, it was not the end of the world. The team was still on track to advance to the semi-finals. However, a more pressing issue arose in the bottom of the 8th inning during that game. As Cuba led 5-0, pinch runner Yobel Duenas made a reckless slide into home plate, colliding with Borders and leaving him in agony. Borders went down writhing in pain, as the nasty slide had been one last message from the Cubans that this wasn't over, recalled Dave Finucchi, the Team USA press officer at the time. Although X-rays later revealed no fractures, Borders' ankle had swollen significantly, resembling a grapefruit. "I thought I was done," he admitted. The team doctor, Dr. Fred Dicker, concurred, expressing doubt that Borders could return to play at the necessary level for the medal round. Yet Borders was not one to back down easily. He had a history of playing through pain, famously depicted on a baseball card with blood streaming down his face after being struck by a backswing. "What happens the first time you get hit in the mouth?" he once shared. "Do you lie there moaning and complaining, or do you get up, dust yourself off, and go on playing?" Initially, Borders was hesitant to join the Olympic team. Although he had shown interest earlier in the year, by August, he was exhausted from a grueling season in the minor leagues and was looking forward to some much-needed rest. "I called my wife and told her, 'Man, I'm tired. I don't feel like going down for another 6 weeks in Australia. I won't do it. I'm just tired.'" Fortunately, his wife encouraged him to stay with the team, insisting, "Heck no, I'm not letting you come home. You'll go." Reluctantly, Borders agreed to participate, but he had low expectations. He viewed the Olympics as a fun experience, rather than a serious competition. However, Lasorda had a different perspective. "Oh hell no," he told Borders. "You guys are supposed to come in 4th place, but 2nd place is completely unacceptable. You're representing your country and your flag." Borders realized the gravity of the situation, saying, "I was going like, damn, he's right. This is a big deal. This is way more important than I anticipated. Coming in 2nd place is the first loser kind of mentality." That made it really serious and much more enjoyable, actually. Despite his injury, Borders was sidelined as Marcus Jensen took over catching duties. The U.S. team continued to perform well, finishing the round-robin stage with a decisive 12-1 victory against Australia, followed by a narrow 3-2 win over Korea in the semi-finals. This set the stage for a rematch against Cuba in the gold medal game. On September 27th, Ben Sheets was named the starting pitcher. He had excelled in the minor leagues, boasting a 2.40 ERA, and was ready to take on the challenge of the biggest game in Olympic baseball history. Although Jensen had performed admirably, Lasorda had his sights set on Borders. When Lasorda approached him in the clubhouse, he asked, "Can you play?" Borders, despite his swollen ankle and knee pain, replied, "Yeah, I can play." He felt the adrenaline and emotions of the game surging through him, compelling him to participate. "This is a once-in-a-lifetime thing. I've got to suck it up," he thought. Due to strict Olympic regulations, Borders had limited options for pain relief, joking, "I think even caffeine was limited." Nevertheless, he donned his uniform, gritted his teeth, and prepared to take the field. "With Pat back there making things happen, it was pretty special," Sheets remarked. "When I was warming up in the bullpen and I saw Pat come walk out there to catch me, it was a pretty calming feeling. Nothing against Marcus, Jensen, but Pat had been through the battles. That's why we had him on the team, and that's who I wanted catching that game for me." Although Cuba had bested the US in their previous encounter, the American team was confident they could turn the tide. Borders noted, "We learned a lot the first time we played them. Going into the second game, there was a little more intensity because of the little bench learnings. It was nothing serious, but it was enough to cause a little bit of animosity toward each other on the field." This time, Borders called for a different strategy. Instead of relying on curveballs and sliders, which played into the Cubans' strengths, they decided to challenge them with hard pitches inside. They weren't used to people going in and really throwing the ball hard in on their hands, Borders explained. "If you hit them, so be it. But we were going to make them really aware of the inside pitch, and eventually that would expose the outer part of the plate, maybe in the later part of the game." Sheets executed the game plan flawlessly, throwing a complete game shutout, allowing only 3 hits and striking out 5 batters. Ben had absolutely zero fear of anybody, Borders praised. He had 100% confidence. "It didn't matter what the hell pitch I put down," which says a lot about his character, and it helps you be a better pitcher. The adrenaline coursing through Borders dulled his pain more effectively than any medication could, allowing him to contribute offensively as well. He finished the game with 2 hits, including an RBI double in the 5th inning that put the US ahead 2-0, ultimately leading to a 4-0 victory. With the game tightly contested, there was no room for distraction until the final out was made. When left fielder Mike Neal made a sliding catch to secure the win, the celebration erupted. Borders described the feeling, saying, "It was a different kind of excitement. You win a World Series. You have been playing all year to win that. It was like, all right, you represented your country. You didn't let your people down, your country down, your population that's going to be watching this. That was my main focus. I don't want to fail our country." Once the celebration subsided, Borders took his place on the podium, eagerly awaiting the moment the gold medal would be draped around his neck. It was around 8 a.m. back in the US, and he managed to borrow a cell phone from a teammate to call his wife, who had encouraged him to join the team. He caught her just as she was about to leave the house. "I call her up. It gives me chills thinking about it. And I said, I want you to hear something," Borders recounted. He held the phone up to let her listen to the national anthem, a moment that confirmed their victory. After the game, the US players returned to their accommodations in the Olympic Village, when they were surprised to see some Cuban players, including Duenas, who had injured Borders, coming over to socialize. There were no hard feelings anymore. Borders shared. "He came over and we talked, carried on, and traded bats. I still have the Cuban bat today, but I traded with him. And I would suspect he still has my bat down in Cuba somewhere." Borders, one of the few athletes to have won both a World Series and an Olympic gold medal, continued his professional baseball career until 2006, when he retired at the age of 43. He's accumulated numerous accolades and cherished memories. But one sentiment stands out above the rest. I've told people in the past that I would give up both of my World Series rings before I would give up the gold medal. That's how important that medal is. This story of Pat Borders is not just about athletic achievement. It's a testament to the power of perseverance, the importance of teamwork, and the pride of representing one's country on the global stage.